From the heart of nature flows purity, carefully captured in every drop of Campus mineral water. At Campus, each bottle and sachet goes through advanced filtration and mineral balancing, ensuring freshness, taste, and safety that meets international standards. From production to packaging, strict hygiene is maintained, guaranteeing that what reaches you is 100% pure and healthy. Rich in essential minerals, Campus mineral water keeps your body hydrated, refreshed, and active every moment of the day. Campus mineral water, pure refreshment, healthy living. Preview.
Still spending hours washing your car yourself, wasting water, struggling with mud underneath, dirty engines, and worn-out tires? Stop stressing. Prison's Washing Bay is here for you. With reliable 24-hour service, day and night, we offer professional body wash, underwash, engine wash, hoovering, tire change, puncture repairs, and wheel alignment, all in one place. Foam the body, rinse the engine, wash, hoover the interior. We clean every corner with care and precision. Anytime, just drive in. Save time, save water, save money. Prison's Washing Bay, 24-hour service. Location, opposite Police Hospital, Danko Roundabout, or call 0244 852 933, or you can call 0247 266 537, or you can call 0545 102 025. Every car leaves neat, fresh, and fit for the road.
Welcome to Ghana Prisons TV and another edition of the Freedom and Heritage. Today's discussion focuses on an important topic with the criminal justice system, the legal rights of convicted persons in prisons. When a court of law sentences a person to imprisonment, it does not mean that the individual loses all their rights as a citizen. Even while serving a sentence, the law provides certain protections to ensure that the prisoners are treated with dignity, fairness, and humanity. In this program, we will explore the legal rights available to convicted persons in prisons, including their rights to human treatment, access to legal representation, medical care, communication with family, and opportunities for rehabilitation. We will also examine how these rights are protected under the laws of Ghana and the role of correctional institutions in safeguarding them. Stay with us as we discuss the legal rights of convicted persons in prisons and that they mean for justice, human dignity, and correctional reform in Ghana. I am DSP Solomon Nanavi. This program is brought to you by Campus Mineral Water. Pure, refreshing, simply the best. To support the Ghana Prison Service to push the Think Prison 360 Degrees agenda, you can donate as little as 1 Ghana cedi a month through the Prison Sustainability Peswa Fund. And you can dial *972 *1*3100 hash. Again, *972 *1*3100 hash on all networks. You can also do business now with the Ghana Prison Service through their industrious business unit, that is the print bars. You can call the following numbers: 0545 102025 or 0291903 Now, ladies and gentlemen, to help us with this insightful conversation, it's a Ghanaian lawyer, former military officer of the Ghana Armed Forces, and a former member of parliament for Brekum. He is a member of the New Patriotic Party and once contested in the party's flag bearer race. He is also a well-known legal practitioner who frequently contributes to national discussions on law, governance, and the criminal justice system in Ghana. He is Captain Retired Nkrabia Ifa Dati. Sir, good to have you on our set and good to connect with you once again.
Thank you.
All right. Many are those that will find that when you are incarcerated, I mean persons incarcerated, do not have any legal rights, and as a matter of fact, they need to be condemned. So we are here with you to know how to change the narrative outside there, to indeed get to know how we can help people to know that indeed people have legal rights. But I want to find out that, sir, do people that are incarcerated, do they have rights?
Yes, they have rights. The fact that a person has been sentenced to a term in prison does not mean he is no more a human being. He has a lot of rights. In fact, I would say that the only right that is restricted when you are in prison is freedom of movement. Because when you are not sentenced, you can go anywhere you like, sleep anywhere you like, anytime you like, get up anytime you like. Nobody says do this or do that. But once you are convicted and sentenced to a term in prison, then you lose that freedom of movement. It is the duty of the prison system to take care of you, to control your movement, to restrict the things that you can do so that you serve the sentence. Now, in some countries, the prison system is terrible. But fortunately in Ghana, well, we have, let me say, decent prison buildings. I was once deputy minister for Interior, and the prison system is under the Ministry of Interior. I had opportunity to visit several prisons in Ghana, and I saw what was going on. And I myself, I have been to prison on 2 occasions. In the year 1981, I was arrested on February 7 by the military intelligence and sent to some prisons deep in the night. I was kept there and tried there by military court-martial, and I was sentenced to 23 months imprisonment. I was moved from condemned block to the annex, in some annex. I was in cell 11. Total, I spent 11 months in some prisons. And when I was there, it was a completely new experience for me. Now, because I was a soldier, I was used to carrying out orders. So I didn't really have a problem obeying orders of the prison officers. But I noticed that in prison, you can't sleep when you want, unless maybe during daytime you feel like having siesta. But in the night, in some like this, in those days, I don't know what happens there now, but in those days, by latest 5:30, we are all locked up in our cells. And you'll be there continuously. Whether you sleep or you don't sleep, you'll be there until the next morning, around 6 o'clock, when you are opened. And when you want to attend nature's call, you have to do it inside a bucket in the cell. And I noticed that some cells in the annex block were overcrowded. In my cell, for instance, was, I think, 4. Then later we became 6. But the central point is that the fact that you are in prison does not mean you are not a human being. It does not mean that you don't have any right at all. The Constitution of Ghana guarantees freedom as an individual, but restricts you only to satisfy the law. And don't forget, most leaders in history pass through prison.
Sure.
Kwame Nkrumah, for instance, was a prisoner for some months. In fact, he became leader of government business from prison when they voted for him. And it is no news to say that a prisoner or a former prisoner has become head of state or a big man in the country. So prisoners have rights, and prisoners must be treated with dignity. Except that, well, Ghana is better. In other countries, it's very terrible. The way prison officers maltreat the prisoners is very terrible. But generally speaking, yes, prisoners have rights.
All right. Thank you very much, Captain Retired Nkrabea Ifadate, for sharing that practical life experience with us in answering if indeed people that have been incarcerated have rights. But we want to find out from you, per what you've shared with us, with your little experience there, we want to know that under the law, can a convicted person apply for a reduction in sentence?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Because we have so many of them that are serving about 75
yes.
years, 50 years. What
Oh,
have you?
yes. Well, the best, if you can afford, is to get the services of a lawyer. And when you get a lawyer, the fact that you have been convicted does not mean your case is ended. It is not. Not at all. A lawyer can file a motion for bail pending appeal. Motion for bail pending appeal. I have done it several times. And when I was a prisoner at Nsamom, I saw fellow prisoners going out on motion for bail pending appeal. Then, apart from that, apart from the motion pending appeal, you also have a system where even the prisoner yourself, the prison system, especially in some prisons, they have officers who can prepare appeal papers for you. Right now, as I'm speaking, I'm doing an appeal case at the Court of Appeal for a prisoner in Nsamom whose appeal papers were prepared for him and filed from Nsamom prisons. So the fact that you have been convicted does not mean the world has come to an end. Not at all. You can challenge every aspect of the conviction and the sentence from prison. And the judges, they look at the appellate system with carefulness, and they look at each case on its own merit. And so it's very normal. But of course, there are times when some instances, currently I'm doing a murder case for a convict at some prisons. He's been there for almost 20 years. 20 solid years. His name is Kwesi Ebua. He's been there for almost 20 years. We've been going to court, and I must confess, the appeal system, you need the records of the trial court. And we call it record of proceedings. The record of proceedings must be proper and correct. Otherwise, you cannot do the appeal.
Thank you very much, Captain Retired. So, talking about documentation and also about judges, what role does the appellant court play when a prisoner challenges or seeks a review in his or her sentence?
Oh, the role that the court itself plays is that the law says an appeal is by way of rehearing. Rehearing means it is as if the case is starting afresh. So the appellate judge, whether it's the High Court or the Court of Appeal, they take all the records and critically look at them and look at all the aspects of the case from the moment of arrest through prosecution, the trial, and the judgment by the trial court. So the appeal court plays a major role in the appellate system. And it is very important that the records, currently I'm doing a case where the records cannot be traced. The records cannot be traced. My client is under a sentence of death at some prisons. But we cannot trace the records. In those days, if you remember in Ghana, there was something called fast-track courts. And the fast-track courts were relying on recording machines to record proceedings. Now, all those records have vanished. We cannot get them. And my client is under death sentence in some prisons. How to get the appeal system going is very difficult.
Very difficult.
Very. I'm even trying the Chief Justice on a petition to do something about it. But the appellate judges play a major role.
Major role. All right. So thank you for the service you are rendering and continue to render for our brothers and sisters that have been incarcerated, I mean, those behind bars. And let me see this opportunity even to thank the Fair Justice Initiative. You know, for some time now, they've worked with the Ghana Prison Service, and they've come to give legal aid to those that cannot even afford, which is bringing some sort of good developments in the prison facility. And we have so much success stories about that. We will go for a quick commercial break, ladies and gentlemen, and we will come back.
From the heart of nature flows purity, carefully captured in every drop of Campus mineral water. At Campus, each bottle and sachet goes through advanced filtration and mineral balancing, ensuring freshness, taste, and safety that meets international standards. From production to packaging, strict hygiene is maintained, guaranteeing that what reaches you is 100% pure and healthy. Rich in essential minerals, Campus mineral water keeps your body hydrated, refreshed, and active every moment of the day. Campus mineral water, pure refreshment, healthy living. Preview.
Still spending hours washing your car yourself, wasting water, struggling with mud underneath, dirty engines, and worn-out tires? Stop stressing. Prisons Washing Bay is here for you with reliable 24-hour service, day and night. We offer professional body wash, underwash, engine wash, hoovering, tire change, puncture repairs, and wheel alignment, all in one place. Foam the body, rinse the engine, wash, hoover the interior. We clean every corner with care and precision. Anytime, just drive in. Save time, save water, save money. Prisons Washing Bay, 24-hour service. Location, opposite Police Hospital, Danko Roundabout, or call 0244 852 933, or you can call 0247 266 537, or you can call 0545 102 025. Every car leaves neat, fresh, and fit for the road.
Thank you, viewers, for staying with us, we are still with Captain Retired Nkrabia Ifa Date with us today. And moving on, Captain, we want to find out from you, can the prosecution or the courts enhance a sentence after conviction, and under what circumstances?
Yes, the courts can enhance the sentence after conviction, but it is only in the domain of an appeal. Because once the circuit court or the high court declares that you should go to prison, first you are found guilty. As punishment, you should go to prison for X number of years. The judge becomes what we call in law functus officio. That means you finished your job for that case. So the court can no longer disturb or change anything at all. But if there are two parties involved, the prosecution and the defense. The defense, as we know, can go on appeal that my client was convicted and sentenced to 2 years imprisonment. Currently, I'm doing a case where a client was sentenced to 10 years imprisonment. And he is complaining about the severity of the sentence. So we are appealing against the sentence. We went to the High Court. The High Court dismissed it. But now I'm on appeal court trying to get the sentence reduced. Now, the other party is the prosecution. The prosecution can say that the sentence that was given was too small. So they can go to a higher court to enhance the sentence. But a very recent experience is the Agrada case, where the judge sentenced her to 15 years, but the High Court has reduced it to 1 year. So it is possible, very, and it happens all the time in the judicial system, except that prisoners must know that they have a right to counsel. They have a right to lawyers. And if your relative is sentenced to a term in prison, it does not mean that is the end of the world. You should continue to look after him. You should try and get a lawyer for him. And it is most likely that the lawyer can get the sentence reduced because it is provided by the law.
Thank you very much, Captain. This is quite insightful. And to our listeners and also to our viewers watching us, this is an advice we are getting from Captain. It was an expedient for us to come out to get a seasoned lawyer like him to share with us some practical life experience and us what to do when we have loved ones, even family members, or even close associates find themselves in prisons. We therefore call on all individuals and close associates, even family members, that they shouldn't leave their brethren and sisters that are behind bars. They should, as much as talk to them and seek the counsel that Captain has given us today, for there can be a good development moving forward. This program, ladies and gentlemen, is brought to you by Campus Mineral Water. Pure, refreshing, simply the best. Also, to move on with the Think Prison 360 agenda, we can donate as little as 1 Ghana cedis by dialing star 972 star 1 star 3100 hash. Again, star 972 star 1 star 3100 hash. Do you want to do business with the Ghana Prison Service? You can contact the print bars. That's the business unit of the Ghana Prison Service on 0545 102025 or 0291 903484. Now back to you, Captain. We want to find out again from you that what constitutional provisions protect a prisoner's right to appeal against a sentence?
Oh, it's too general. The Constitution makes there's a fundamental provision that an accused person has a right of appeal to any conviction and any sentence. It's a fundamental human right, fundamental, guaranteed by the Constitution of Ghana. So no matter the offense that you are charged with, no matter the offense that you have been convicted with, once a court has given a decision, you can appeal to the superior court. The only problem is that, you see, the appellate system works in a very funny way. We have the lower courts, and all appeals against decisions by the lower courts go to the high court direct as first instance. Then all decisions by the high court, if you want to appeal, you go to court of appeal, specially set up. And now the government of Ghana, or should I say the judicial service, they've expanded the court of appeal system. So formerly we had only Accra. All over the country, Ghana, only Accra. But now court of appeal sits in Kumasi, in Takoradi, and in Koforidua. I'm sure pretty soon they'll be sitting in Tamale. And also another interesting development. I have noticed that the judicial service has advanced so much that now appeals at Koforidua and Takoradi, they are done on electronic basis, in the sense that I drove last time all the way to Takoradi. When I got there, my case was called, and instead of seeing 3 judges sitting there, I rather saw a screen, a television screen.
Virtual.
The judge, yes, it's virtual. The judges are in Accra, but they are 3. And then electronically we were doing business. And we did business. They recognized me immediately and said, "Captain," and we talked business. So
that's good to know.
Yes, so it's a right. It's a fundamental right guaranteed by the Constitution. So no prisoner should say that my case is so bad that I cannot appeal you, except that there is a law that if you are convicted, you must appeal within time. If you allow the time to pass, I think it's 3 months. If you allow the time to pass, then you need to come for leave. You need permission of the superior court to appeal. And normally, the superior court will say that, where is a copy of the judgment? And this is where the problem comes in.
All right. Thank you very much, Captain. Now, talking about advancement, where you've got experience of even doing business virtual, and also the development that, or the happenings in the criminal justice system, I want to find out from you, with your experience as an ex-convict, and also with your experience as a seasoned lawyer, what do you think about the current state of the Ghana prison service? Do you think we have also advanced to a level that you can give a thumbs up by way of treating inmates?
In fact, I don't know what to say about this your question, because the last time I was in prison, let me say I've been to prison 3 times. First, 1981, when I was a soldier, an army officer, under prison, because they said I was planning a military coup, which was not true, but I was sentenced all the same. Then the second time was when Rawlings administration, after I was working with them at the National Investigations Committee, they arrested me and dumped me in some prisons for a total of 6 months before I was unconditionally released and retired from the army. But the 3rd time, I didn't go as a prisoner. I was a minister of state. I'm visiting other government institutions, including prisons. And I would say I visited quite a number of prisons in Ghana because Interior covers prison service.
Very well.
So, if you ask me that, Captain, how about the prison service?
Captain, I'm sorry. Do you know why I asked that question? Because you have been there before and you continue to work with even inmates, especially in Nsawam medium security prison.
Yes.
Hence, me asking you that question for us to know that when you were there in the 1980s and now you're working with the inmates, has there been any advancement? You see an improvement in the way and manner we deal with this inmate?
Well, at least what I can say is that anytime I go to court in Accra and they bring prisoners to attend their hearings, I see that they are all in white. They are all in white T-shirts, white dresses, looking neat. And this is a far cry from the olden days when they would come some shabbily dressed and so on. But now, at least you create the impression that they are being looked after very well in the prisons. As to whether this presumption is true or proper, once you are inside, it's difficult to tell. But at least I know that in some prisons, they are doing well because there's a football park where they play football matches with outsiders. And I think, but from my experience as a minister for Interior, I can say that Ghana prisons, you are doing well. You are doing very well. And when I drive through town and I see prison officers, their uniform and their vehicles, at least you are doing well.
Thank you very much. Now, I would love to ask you my last question before we draw the curtains down. What is the role of the president in granting clemency, pardons, or commutation of a sentence? What is his role?
You see, the powers of the president towards clemency, showing mercy, pardoning prisoners, those powers are guaranteed. But you see, a prisoner should not think that because the president has power of clemency, I can go to him and then he will show me clemency. There is a special constitutional provision guaranteeing the establishment of a presidential commission on clemency, a special committee set up to advise the president that this particular prisoner in Kpando prison or in Takoradi prison or in Ho prison deserves clemency because of the nature of the offense, the circumstances of the offense, and so on. You see, so the presidential powers of clemency, yes, is there, but it's rarely used, very rarely used, because the aim of the president is not to short-circuit court decisions. And now, thank God, because Ghana is strictly constitutional, we don't have persons in detention where you can stay for time uncertain. No. Now, even the police, they have up to 48 hours to keep a person in cells, and then go to court for an order. So, if you ask me, I would say that the presidential powers of clemency is very rarely used, but once in a while, he is advised to use it. And it's interesting.
Okay, so with that, though I made mention that that's my last question, but I want to follow up with just one question, then we bring it to a closure. How do principles of fairness and justice guide the courts when considering sentence reduction or enhancement?
I always remember what Professor Jando told us when we were doing law. And this was in 1975. I was then in first year at Legon. Professor Jando said that when a judge is sitting there on the seat, his mindset is made up of the totality of his experiences. And he demonstrated it by saying that imagine a woman, a female judge, who has been beaten up by her husband in the morning. And then she goes to court. And the first case for that morning is a man who has beaten his wife. I mean, you don't need to be told that the man is in trouble. You beat your wife, and you go, and the judge sitting there is a woman. You know. So, yes, I must say that the courts is a very interesting system. The courts, but don't forget, I always say that the law is one thing, the system is another. And then we have human beings operating the system. Human beings operating the system. And a human being is a composite of all his experiences. A human being is a composite of all his experiences. And if you are fortunate to go before a judge who is very innocent, you can get away with it. But if you go before a judge beaten up by her husband, and you are accused of beating your wife, she will give you maximum sentence, especially when you plead guilty. You know, it's interesting. The law is very interesting.
So I believe strongly the more reason why we are echoing that people should come out and seek legal, aid and all that to ensure.
Oh
that
yes, oh yes.
Because they still have the right. If you have the right, you can still go forth and
the right.
pursue that.
So take a lawyer and let the lawyer help you. I know some lawyers are very expensive, but most lawyers, they try to help prisoners. Most lawyers try to help prisoners.
And currently, the Ghana Prison Service even have the paralegal unit where we assist inmates who don't or cannot afford legal practitioners and all that. But Captain, one last thing I want you to do for us is that I want you to look into the cameras and tell family members, close associates that have abandoned their brothers or sisters that they are found in themselves behind bars. What encouragement will you want to give them? And how would you want them to do it? To seek legal aid. And the last thing I want you also to do for us is that, to the youth, especially, to the youth, what advice do you have for them? So it's two. One, how do you encourage people that have abandoned those behind bars? And two, general advice for the youth.
Well, those listeners, let me tell you point blank that going to prison is not by choice. It's not by choice. And it is not every offense that can take you to prison. Some judges are merciful. So instead of going to prison, they will give you a fine. But generally, you should see prison as part of life. As part of life. So if your child or your brother or your husband or your wife is sent to prison, it does not mean that's the end of the world. I, Captain, have been to prison twice. First, I served 11 months, and later I served 6 months. But by God's grace, I'm now a lawyer working. And by God's grace, I have been a minister before. So life continues. So if you have a relative in prison, please don't abandon him. Don't abandon her. Visit her as often as you can afford. But more importantly, try and get a lawyer to serve his interest, to try and release him. And we lawyers, we get more cases, we get more clients when we are able to release prisoners from prison. It enhances our popularity. So don't forget, try and see a lawyer. And for you, I don't want to say my sons, because my eldest child is 40 years old. But for you, the youth, try to avoid going to prison. And you can only avoid going to prison by being careful with whatever you do. Be as much careful as possible. Don't follow bad advice. Don't take things recklessly as if it's a joke. Life is not a joke. Life is not a joke. If you take unnecessary risks, you may find yourself dead. Every day when you read newspapers, even this morning when I read the papers, I saw a story about police killing armed robbers. And don't joke with crime and say that, oh, I'm doing this, I'll get away with it, I'll get away with it. You won't get away with it. There's a story of a young boy who said his aim in life is to be an armed robber. Your aim in life is to be an armed robber. How possible? I don't need to add that he died very early in life. But I can assure you, the youth, that if you lead a good life and you obey your parents and you take your studies very serious, then you will enjoy life. You have a very beautiful woman as your wife, sleeping beside you every night. Life can be very interesting. Very interesting. So pray to God for a good life instead of running around recklessly and wasting your time. No.
Thank you very much, Captain Retired Ekrabia Ifa Dade. Viewers, thank you for staying tuned. You have been watching Freedom and Heritage on Ghana Prisons TV, where we explore key issues within Ghana's criminal justice system, and reflect on the heritage and shapes our institutions today. We hope today's discussions has deepened your understanding of legal rights of convicted persons in prisons and highlighted the importance of protecting human dignity even within correctional facilities. Remember, imprisonment is not only about punishment, it is also about rehabilitation, reintegration, and respect for the rule of law. Join us again next time as we continue to examine important aspects of justice, freedom, and our national heritage. A special thanks to Able Crew, the camera, sound, and lighting, and to the executive producer, DSP Nana Safo Boache Echampong. Thank you very much for watching Freedom and Heritage. My name again is DSP Solomon Nanavi.